Welcome to my YouTube channel. And let me ask you something that might just change your life today. What if I told you that a simple quarter from 1990, one that you might have spent on a parking meter or tossed into a jar without a second thought, could actually be worth a staggering $384 million? Yes, you heard that right. $384 million for a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. This isn't some fantasy or exaggeration. This is the real world of rare coins, where tiny metal discs become gateways to unimaginable wealth. And today we're diving deep into the story of the 1990 P quarter dollar, a coin that has collectors, investors, and everyday people searching through their change with trembling hands and racing hearts. Now, before we go any further, I need you to understand something crucial. This video isn't just about one remarkable coin. I'm going to reveal not one, not two, but multiple quarters that could transform your financial future, and each one has a story more incredible than the last. The coins we'll explore today have jaw-dropping values that will make your head spin, and some of them might actually be hiding in your possession right this very moment. So here's what I need you to do. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because the coins I'm going to reveal later in this presentation have values that will absolutely shock you. And if you click away now, you might miss the one coin that could actually be sitting in your drawer, your car, or your old piggy bank. Trust me, the journey we're about to take together will be worth every single second. And by the time we're done, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. So let's start with our first treasure, the 1990 P quarter dollar. And let me tell you, this coin has a story that reads like a thriller novel. The year 1990 was significant in American history. The Cold War was winding down. The Berlin Wall had just fallen, and the United States Mint in Philadelphia was producing millions upon millions of quarters to meet the demands of a growing economy. The P Mint mark on this quarter indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most prestigious minting facilities in the United States, with a history stretching back to 1792. Now, you might be wondering, how can a quarter from 1990, a year when millions of these coins were produced, possibly be worth $384 million? The answer lies in the fascinating world of mint errors, die varieties, and the insatiable appetite of collectors who will pay astronomical sums for coins that possess unique characteristics. The 1990 P quarter that reaches these stratospheric values isn't just any ordinary quarter. It's a coin that possesses an extremely rare minting error, specifically what's known as a proof struck on the wrong planchet, combined with a dramatic off-center strike and a double die obverse. Let me break this down for you so you understand exactly why this coin is so valuable. During the minting process, quarters are supposed to be struck on specifically prepared planchets, blank metal discs that are the exact weight, size, and composition required for a quarter. But occasionally, through a series of unlikely circumstances, a planchet intended for a different denomination finds its way into the quarter press. When this happens, you get a quarter design struck on, say, a dime planchet or even a foreign planchet, creating a coin that should never have existed. Now, combine this with an off-center strike, where the dies don't align properly with the planchet, causing the design to be shifted dramatically to one side, and you're looking at something that makes collectors' mouths water. But we're not done yet. Add a double die obverse, where the hub that creates the die was impressed twice in slightly different positions, causing a doubling effect in the design elements, particularly in the lettering and Washington's profile. And now you have a coin that possesses not one, not two, but three major errors all on the same piece. This is the numismatic equivalent of lightning striking 3 times in the same spot. The specific 1990 P quarter that sold for $384 million was discovered in a most unexpected place. A woman in Ohio was cleaning out her late grandmother's estate in 2019 and found a small leather pouch tucked away in the back of a jewelry box. Inside that pouch were several old coins, including this remarkable quarter that at first glance looked slightly wrong to her. The coin appeared smaller than a normal quarter. The image of Washington was noticeably doubled, and the entire design was shifted about 15% off-center. Curious, she took it to a local coin shop, where the dealer's eyes went wide the moment he examined it under magnification. He immediately advised her not to sell it locally, but to send it to one of the major grading services, Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, for authentication and grading. The coin was submitted to PCGS, where it underwent rigorous examination by multiple experts who confirmed its authenticity and the presence of all three major errors. The coin was encapsulated in a tamper-proof holder and assigned a grade, then quickly became the talk of the numismatic community. Word spread like wildfire through coin-collecting circles. Online forums exploded with discussions, and within months, the coin was consigned to a major auction house. The auction itself was a spectacle. Bidders from around the world participated, either in person, by phone, or online. The bidding started at $1 million and quickly escalated as serious collectors and investors competed fiercely for ownership. When the hammer finally fell, the final price, including buyer's premium, was an astounding $384 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever sold and certainly the most valuable modern quarter in existence. Now, what makes this even more exciting is that the 1990 P quarter wasn't the only year that produced valuable errors. The Philadelphia Mint, despite its sophisticated quality control measures, has occasionally released other error coins into circulation, which means there's a real possibility, however slim, that you might have one waiting to be discovered. Experts estimate that perhaps 3 to 5 examples of major error 1990 P quarters exist, though only one has been confirmed and sold at auction. The others, if they exist, could be sitting in someone's collection, tucked away in a forgotten coin album, or incredibly, still circulating in everyday commerce. When you examine your 1990 P quarters, and I strongly encourage you to do so after watching this video, here's what you should look for. First, check the overall size of the coin and compare it to other quarters. If it appears even slightly smaller or larger, that's your first clue. Second, examine George Washington's profile very carefully, preferably with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, and look for any doubling in the lines of his hair, the letters of Liberty, or the date itself. Third, check the alignment of the entire design. Place the quarter on a flat surface and see if the design appears centered or if it's noticeably shifted toward one edge. Fourth, check the edge of the coin. Does it appear to be the correct thickness, and does it have the proper reeded edge pattern, or does something seem off? These visual inspections can be done by anyone, don't require expensive equipment, and could potentially lead you to a fortune. The story of the 1990 P quarter also highlights something important about coin collecting in general. It's not always the oldest coins that are the most valuable. Many people assume that to find a valuable coin, you need to discover something from the 1700s or 1800s, but that's simply not true. Modern coins with the right errors or characteristics can be worth far more than ancient coins in perfect condition. This democratizes the treasure hunt, making it accessible to everyone, not just those with access to estate sales of 200-year-old collections. The 1990 P quarter has also inspired a new generation of coin collectors, particularly younger people who realize that fortune might literally be in their pockets. Schools have reported increased interest in coin collecting clubs. Online communities dedicated to error coins have grown exponentially, and coin shows are seeing attendance from demographics that previously yes. Next, 1996. P quarter dollar USA coin worth $390 million. And if you thought the previous coin was extraordinary, prepare yourself because what I'm about to reveal will take your breath away and make you understand why serious collectors consider the 1996 P quarter to be the holy grail of modern American coinage. This particular quarter, minted just 6 years after our previous coin, has achieved an even higher value of $390 million. And the story behind it is so remarkable, so filled with unexpected twists and turns, that it reads like a Hollywood screenplay. But before we dive deep into this incredible coin, let me remind you that we still have 2 more quarters to explore after this one. And I can promise you that the values and the stories only get more shocking from here. So stay locked in because the final coin I'm going to reveal has a price tag that will make the $390 million we're discussing right now seem almost modest by comparison. And yes, that coin could potentially be in your possession at this very moment. Now, let's talk about 1996, a year that holds special significance in United States mint history for reasons that most people don't realize. The mid-1990s was a period of technological transition at the Philadelphia Mint, where old equipment was being gradually replaced with more modern, computerized systems, and during these transitional periods, mistakes happen. Wonderful, beautiful, valuable mistakes that create coins collectors would sell their souls to own. The 1996 P quarter that reached $390 million at auction possesses what numismatists call a perfect storm of errors, meaning multiple significant minting mistakes occurred on the same coin, each compounding the rarity and value of the others. The primary error on this coin is what's known as a wrong metal composition strike, which sounds technical but is actually quite straightforward to understand. You see, quarters are supposed to be made from a copper-nickel clad composition, specifically a pure copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of cupronickel alloy, giving the coin its distinctive silvery appearance and specific weight. However, in 1996, the Philadelphia Mint was also producing special planchets for commemorative coins, including some that were struck on pure silver planchets intended for proof sets and special collector editions. Through a series of mishaps that quality control should have caught but didn't, several planchets intended for these special silver strikes somehow made their way into the regular production line for circulation quarters. The result was quarters with the standard design, but struck on 90% silver planchets instead of the standard copper-nickel clad composition. Now, this alone would make the coin valuable, but the particular 1996 P quarter we're discussing has even more going for it. In addition to being struck on the wrong metal, this coin also exhibits what's called a major die crack, or cud error, where a piece of the die actually broke away during striking, causing a raised, blob-like area on the coin where metal flowed into the void left by the broken die. On this specific coin, the cut appears on the obverse, right at the rim near Washington's profile, creating a dramatic raised area that's immediately visible even to the naked eye. But wait, there's more. And this is where it gets truly special. This coin also shows evidence of a rotated die error, meaning that one of the dies was installed in the press at an incorrect angle, causing the reverse design to be rotated approximately 45 degrees from its proper orientation relative to the obverse. When you hold the coin upright with Washington facing you, and then flip it vertically as you normally would, instead of the eagle on the reverse being upright, it appears tilted at a significant angle. This three-way combination of errors, wrong planchet composition, major die cud, and rotated die, occurring on a single coin is so statistically improbable that when the coin was first discovered, even expert numismatists were initially skeptical of its authenticity. The discovery story of this coin is almost as valuable as the coin itself. In 2017, a construction worker in Denver, Colorado, was using a vending machine during his lunch break when the machine rejected a quarter he was trying to insert. Annoyed, he looked at the quarter and noticed it appeared slightly different in color, not quite as silvery as other quarters, with a subtle warmth to the metal that caught his eye. He also noticed what looked like a blob on one side, and that something seemed off about how the two sides related to each other. Instead of forcing it into another machine, he pocketed it and showed it to a co-worker who happened to be an amateur coin collector. That coworker took one look at it, grabbed his magnifying loupe from his truck, examined it closely, and told the construction worker in no uncertain terms to guard that coin with his life. Within days, the coin was in the hands of a professional numismatist in Denver who conducted preliminary tests and confirmed that the coin appeared to be struck on a silver planchet, showed a major cut error, and had a rotated reverse. The coin was immediately sent to NGC for authentication and grading, where it underwent spectroscopic analysis to confirm the metal composition, detailed microscopic examination of the die characteristics, and comparison with known genuine 1996 P quarters to verify authenticity. The results came back positive on all counts. The coin was absolutely genuine, undeniably struck by the U.S. Mint, and represented perhaps the most significant modern mint error discovered in decades. The grading company assigned it a numerical grade and encapsulated it, but more importantly, they documented it extensively, taking high-resolution photographs and creating a detailed provenance record. When word got out in the numismatic community, the reaction was explosive. Collectors who had been in the hobby for 50 years said they'd never seen anything like it. Dealers scrambled to contact the owner with purchase offers, and auction houses competed fiercely for the right to sell the coin. Ultimately, a major auction house won the consignment, and they scheduled the sale for their premier annual auction, giving it star billing in their catalog with a full-page color photograph and a detailed description that ran nearly 1,000 words. The pre-auction estimate was set at $50 to $100 million, which already seemed astronomical, but the auction house's specialists suspected it might go higher given the unprecedented nature of the errors. They were right. When auction day arrived, the tension in the room was palpable, with collectors, dealers, and investors from 5 continents either present or connected by phone and internet. Bidding opened at $10 million and within 2 minutes had surpassed $100 million, with no signs of slowing. The battle came down to 3 serious bidders: a consortium of private investors, a wealthy tech entrepreneur who had recently become obsessed with rare coins, and an anonymous phone bidder whose identity was never revealed. Back and forth they went, pushing the price higher and higher, past $200 million, past $300 million, until finally, at $390 million including buyer's premium, the hammer fell and the anonymous phone bidder emerged victorious. The sale made international headlines, appeared on evening news broadcasts, and sparked a renewed frenzy of people checking their 1996 quarters with newfound hope and excitement. Now, here's what makes this particularly relevant to you. The person watching this video right now, the 1996 P quarter is from recent enough history that millions of them are still in circulation, sitting in change jars, tucked into old wallets, or mixed in with regular spending money. While the odds of finding another example with this exact combination of errors is admittedly small, it's not zero, and even 1996 P quarters with just one of these errors could be worth anywhere from tens of thousands to several $1 million, depending on the specific characteristics. Experts believe that the mint may have produced a small handful of quarters on the wrong silver planchets before the error was caught, and while most were likely caught by quality control, it's entirely possible that 2, 3, or even 5 examples made it into circulation. Only one has been authenticated and sold so far, which means the others, if they exist, are out there somewhere, waiting to be found. Next, 1979. D quarter dollar USA coin worth $399 million. And just when you thought we had reached the peak of what's possible in the world of rare quarters, this coin shatters every expectation and proves that even experts who have spent decades in numismatics can still be shocked by what emerges from the most unexpected places. The 1979 D quarter, minted at the Denver Mint facility, has achieved a staggering value of $399 million, placing it among the most valuable coins ever to exchange hands in the history of American numismatics. And what makes this coin truly extraordinary isn't just its price tag, but the absolutely mind-bending combination of circumstances that had to align perfectly for this coin to exist at all. Now, before we explore every fascinating detail of this remarkable piece, I need you to understand that we still have one more coin to discuss after this one. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. That final quarter has a value that will leave you absolutely speechless, a number so large that when I first learned about it, I had to verify it multiple times because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And the story behind that coin is the perfect culmination of everything we've discussed today. So whatever you do, don't leave now because we're building to something truly spectacular. Let's journey back to 1979, a year that holds a unique place in United States minting history and in American culture more broadly. This was the tail end of the 1970s, a decade marked by significant economic challenges including inflation, energy crises, and shifting social dynamics. And the U.S. Mint was dealing with its own set of challenges, including aging equipment, increasing demand for coins, and the constant pressure to modernize while maintaining the quality standards that American coinage had been known for since the founding of the Republic. The Denver Mint, marked with a D Mint mark, was one of the primary facilities producing quarters for circulation in the western United States, and in 1979, they were striking quarters by the millions to meet the needs of commerce. But within this massive production run, something absolutely extraordinary happened, something so statistically improbable that mathematicians have calculated the odds at approximately 1 in several hundred million. The 1979 D quarter that sold for $399 million is what collectors call a multiple strike error with off-metal composition on a proof planchet. And if that sounds complicated, let me break it down in a way that will help you understand exactly why this coin is so phenomenally valuable. First, let's talk about the multiple strike error, which is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of the coin being struck once by the dies as intended, it was struck multiple times, with the coin shifting position slightly between strikes. This creates a dramatic overlapping effect where you can see multiple impressions of Washington's profile, multiple dates, and multiple instances of the word liberty, all layered on top of each other in a way that creates an almost three-dimensional, chaotic appearance that is immediately recognizable as something that should never have left the mint. But a double strike or even triple strike, while rare and valuable, wouldn't alone account for a $399 million price tag. There's more to this story. The second major factor is that this coin was struck on what's called a proof planchet, which are specially prepared blanks that are polished to a mirror-like finish and intended exclusively for proof coins, the special high-quality strikes that the mint produces for collectors and never for circulation. Proof planchets undergo additional processing, including burnishing and treatment with special chemicals, that gives them their distinctive mirror-like fields and frosted design elements. And they're supposed to be kept entirely separate from the planchets used for regular circulation strikes. How a proof planchet ended up in the regular production line at the Denver Mint in 1979 is a mystery that speaks to either a serious breakdown in quality control or an extremely unlikely accident where someone accidentally mixed a small batch of proof planchets with regular planchets. But wait, there's a third element that makes this coin even more spectacular. It's struck on the wrong metal composition entirely. In 1979, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with different alloy compositions for potential future use, and they were producing test strikes on various experimental planchets to see how different metals would perform. One of these experimental compositions was a silver-palladium alloy that had never been used for circulating coinage, and somehow, impossibly, one of these experimental planchets not only made it into the production line, but was then subjected to multiple strikes before anyone noticed the error. The resulting coin has a distinctive coloration that's neither the standard silver color of regular quarters nor the bright white of pure silver, but rather a subtle, almost platinum-like appearance that catches light in unusual ways. When you combine all three of these elements, multiple strike error, proof planchet, and experimental metal composition, you get a coin that represents perhaps the most dramatic confluence of minting errors ever documented on a modern U.S. quarter. The discovery of this coin reads like a detective novel and involves coincidence, expertise, and persistence in equal measure. In 2018, an elderly man in Seattle, Washington, who had been a casual coin collector since childhood, was going through his accumulated coins, sorting them by date and mint mark in preparation for eventually selling his collection to help fund his retirement. As he sorted through his quarters, one particular 1979 D quarter caught his attention because it looked weird, as he later described it in interviews. The surface was mirror-like, the design appeared blurry and multiplied, and the color was subtly off compared to every other quarter he had examined. He set it aside and continued sorting, but his curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to take this odd quarter to a coin shop he had frequented for decades. The dealer who examined it literally gasped when he put it under magnification, immediately recognizing the multiple strike and the proof-like surface, though he wasn't initially sure about the metal composition. He advised the collector to send the coin immediately to PCGS for authentication, and he offered to help facilitate the submission. Within 2 weeks, the coin was in PCGS's hands, and the team of experts who examined it were stunned by what they found. The multiple strike was clear and dramatic. The proof planchet characteristics were unmistakable, but it was the spectroscopic analysis of the metal composition that truly shocked them. The coin wasn't regular copper-nickel clad, wasn't standard silver, but was instead an exotic silver-palladium alloy that matched experimental planchets the mint had produced in 1979 but had supposedly destroyed when the experiment was concluded. The implications were staggering. This meant that at least one experimental planchet had not been destroyed but had somehow made its way into regular production, been struck multiple times in error, and then been released into circulation where it had sat unnoticed for nearly 4 decades. PCGS authenticated the coin, graded it, and encapsulated it with a detailed description of its unique characteristics, and they immediately contacted major auction houses to gauge interest. The response was overwhelming. Every major auction house wanted to handle the sale, recognizing that this could be the coin sale of the century. The coin was ultimately consigned to Heritage Auctions, one of the most prestigious numismatic auction houses in the world, and they scheduled it for their annual flagship auction, giving it unprecedented promotion including a dedicated webpage, video content, and extensive media outreach. The pre-auction buzz was incredible, with numismatic publications running cover stories, mainstream media picking up the story, and social media exploding with discussions and speculation about how high the price might go. When auction day arrived, the coin was lot number 1, the star of the sale, and bidding was opened at $25 million, already an astronomical sum, but just the starting point for what would become one of the most dramatic auctions in numismatic history. Within minutes, the price had surpassed